What's up YouTube, Teen709 here. Finally, after a very long time, I'm going to be doing at least a video. I know that I've recently gotten over 4K subs, so much appreciated for that. I do apologize that I haven't really been doing anything. I'm probably just going to start doing deck profiles every once in a while, until I can figure out like what I'm going to do in regards to duels. I might record my friends' duels online, stuff like that. If you guys are okay with me doing something like that, then feel free to leave a comment letting me know that it would be okay. Being able to record my friend CJ Sparkin, as well as Guardian Yados Gaming, as well as a few others here and there. There are things that I can do. I don't really play very much. I'm more of one of those people that likes to study up on the meta and prepare for if he ever goes to an event type of thing. That kind of thing happened with Providence, and all the way up to about round 5 I was undefeated. So I mean, you can kind of see that on the Konami site yourself, if you actually know my name, or if you go to my Facebook or something and see my name, things like that. But yeah, anyways, I feel like I felt like doing something fun as a deck profile for you guys. This is something that I've been kind of interested in. The OCG got a lot of cool new things. One of them being which Rungnomiant. I think they're Rongomian. I think that's how it's pronounced. Excuse me. And it's just an overall kind of busted card, really. And I figured, you know, why not look into the other heroic monsters that have been released, because they got some of those as well, and see if I can't do anything to kind of make the deck somewhat good. Now, before we actually get into the build, I kind of feel like I have to mention this. This is obviously not a competitive build. It's meant to be, you know, a playable version of an archetype that doesn't see any play and probably will never see any play. That's what this kind of is. It's kind of taking something that, you know, some people probably wish would be good, or, you know, could be good, and kind of trying to make it as good as I possibly can. At least this is the initial build that I've come up with. If it changes later down the line and you guys want me to do an updated version, I will be more than happy to oblige. So without further kind of going on about random bullshit, let's just get into the build, and I'll explain some of the plays whenever we're done going over the build and all that other crap. Starting off with the monsters, we have 1 Photon Thrasher, 3 Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd, 3 Heroic Challenger Double Lance, 3 Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades, 3 Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. I'm pretty sure I don't actually have to explain what this card does. 3 Heroic Challenger Sword Shield, 1 Heroic Challenger Class Sword, and 3 Heroic Challenger Ambush Soldier. Spells, we have 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Inferno Reckless Summon, and 2 Forbidden Lance. Traps, we have 3 Reinforced Truth, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential Tribute, 2 Breakthrough Skills, 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 1 Call of the Haunted, and 1 Solemn Warning. Extra deck, we have 1 Blade Armor Ninja, 2 Heroic Champion Gandiva, 1 number 50 Black Ship of Corn, number 101. Excuse me. Hot weather kind of fucks with my throat. Anyways, continuing back where I left off, 1 number 101 Silent Honor Arc, 1 Heroic Champion Excalibur, 1 Evil Storm Excite Knight, there goes my voice again, 1 Maestroke the Symphony Djinn, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 2 number 86 Heroic Champion Rongomiant, 1 Ghost Drake Dullahan, and 2 Slacker Magicians. So obviously, I guess we can start by explaining this. Thrasher is obviously that just Cyber Dragon thing that you can play. It's a warrior, level 4, so you can overlay for anything that requires warriors. It can help you just make any rank 4 basically in this entire deck. So there's that. Assault Halberd, I think, is one of the new cards in the OCG, so for anyone who doesn't know what it does, I will read its effect for you. Also, if you didn't know, it's an 1800 attack, 200 defense monster. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it's basically kind of like another Photon Thrasher that doesn't have the limitation of not being able to attack if you have another monster. Good thing. If it attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict piercing damage if your attack's obviously higher. And last but not least is when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add any heroic card from your deck to your hand. So being able to add basically any of your other monsters in your deck except for Photon Thrasher to your hand is kind of a thing. And what it searches mostly we'll get to in a moment. Double Lance is kind of an interesting card. You kind of want to just be able to like normal summon one or something like early game and just let it get destroyed or detach it as a material, because For anyone who doesn't know what this does, when it's normal summon, you can special summon a heroic or a heroic challenger, double lancer from either your hand or your graveyard. Obviously, from your hand allows you to make some plays as well. But if you have it like late game, you can bring them back from your graveyard instead and kind of keep cards in your hand. Something that a lot of people would rather have. Not to mention that if you have one in your hand and you have one in your graveyard, you don't want to summon one from your hand if you're already normal summoning one, because then you're kind of just wasting a potential play later in the game. Obviously, getting them back from the graveyard is infinitely better. Just, putting that out there. This card is another one of the new cards that the OCG got. Heroic Challenger 1000 Blades. Okay, so because people probably don't know what it does, I'll read it off. Also, it is a level 4, 1300 attack, 1100 defense, if you can't really see it. Once per turn, you can discard any heroic card, special summon any heroic monster from your deck. Doesn't care. I know there's like higher level ones, but you're not going to really be using those anyways. Continuing on. If you do use this effect, it is changed to defense position. If you activate this effect, you cannot special summon any monsters for the rest of the term except for heroic monsters. That's part of the reason why you have double Gandiva, stuff like that. Make sure you have something you can at least make. But it says for the rest of this turn, so you can actually summon something else, and then for the rest of the turn you can't, At least I'm assuming that's how it works. I'm not entirely sure. It just says rest of the turn. I mean, I'm assuming it's got one of those weird like wordings like Bahamut Shark, so I don't know. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. When you take any damage from an attack or a card effect while it is in your graveyard, you can special summon it from your graveyard in face-up attack position, and you can only use this effect of Heroic Challenger 1000 Blades once per turn. So basically, it's kind of like that, Wolf Bark aspect, but in the sense that it brings it straight from your deck. So, I don't know about you, but that seems kind of broken. Especially in the sense that it can bring out this guy, which is Extra Sword. Extra Sword, for those of you who do not remember what Shark Draco TK is, if you use this card as an Xyz material, the Xyz monster gets an effect, and that effect is when it is Xyz summoned, it gains 1000 attack. So, I mean, you can make a heroic like Gandiva or Excalibur or something, and just like, big monster. This card, really good because of some of the level ones that you're playing. Sword Shield is a really good card because you can discard it during either player's turn from your hand to the graveyard, and for the rest of the turn you take no battle damage, and heroic monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. But you can only do this if you have a face-up heroic monster. Good thing the rest of this deck is basically heroics, right? This card is a good one of. It says when this card is special summoned by the effect of a heroic challenger monster, you can add an heroic challenger from your deck to your hand. So you can bring it out off of this and get a free search. It's also a level 1, so I mean there's that. Something that you're not going to want to do very often, but it's kind of a thing. Last monster is Ambush Soldier, which I think was a card that we got in Number Hunters, I think, as well as Class Soldier or whatever, or Class Sword. During your standby phase, you contribute this card, special summon up to 2 heroic challenger monsters from your hand or your graveyard, except Ambush Soldier. You can only use this effect once per turn, and when you do this effect, you can banish it from the graveyard and target a heroic challenger monster, all heroic challenger monsters you control currently become level 1. So that's part of the reason why these are played. So there's that. Now that I've explained all the heroic monsters, since I'm sure a lot of people who play this game competitively don't know jack shit about what they do except for Extra Sword because, fucking Shark Drake, that's the thing. So there's only like a few cards in the main deck left that we really need to explain. First one being this. You can discard a heroic monster with this, bring out this, then Inferno Reckless it, and then you just have 4 monsters at the very least. And for anyone who doesn't know what Rongomian does, you can use anywhere between 2 to 5 level 4 warrior monsters to make it, and during each of your opponent's end phases you detach a material from the card, but it also gains effects based on a number of materials attached to it. 1 or more, it cannot be destroyed in battle. 2 or more, it gains 1500 attack and defense. 3 or more, it's unaffected by any other card effects. 4 or more, your opponent cannot normal or special summon, and 5 or more, once per turn you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. So if you do this, discard to get this, play this, get the other 2, that's 4 monsters right there. So Rongomian says that your opponent cannot normal or special summon, it's unaffected by any other card effects, it gains 1500 attack and defense from its own effect, and it cannot be destroyed in battle. On top of that, it gets the 3000 boost from each, or the 1000 boosts from Extra Sword. So that's 3 Extra Swords, so that makes it 6000 attack that cannot be affected by card effects and prevents your opponent from summoning for at least 1 turn. That is absolutely stupid. So just kind of putting that there. Next thing that, and I think this is like the last thing in the main deck that I really need to explain, is Reinforced Truth. It's an amazing way of getting this out without having to worry about it getting blown up by battle or whatever, and making sure that you have it during your standby phase in order to get monsters on your board, especially things from your graveyard, especially for being able to make your rank 1 play if you want to make it, things like that. It also brings this out from your deck if you need to for whatever reason. But I mean, it's still something you want to bring out off of this instead of off of this. These are the things you mainly want to bring out off of this, but this is also something you can bring out if you want to be able to tank an attack or something. So it's always a good thing to have. So yeah, and the one of Call the Haunted also kind of plays a role in bringing back Ambush Soldier that you've already used or something if you didn't banish it, of course, and use it again. So, I mean, no harm in that, right? So extra deck, don't really need to explain too much. I'm hoping. I mean, I kind of covered a good chunk of it. You're playing the Toucan Diva because of this one's effect. It only lets you summon heroic monsters. So if you're going to bring out only one other monster off of his effect, you kind of have to make something that's only 2 materials. So you're welcome to make either Excalibur or Gandiva or Rongomian, of course. And so I mean, those are your heroic targets that you can summon that require no more than 2 materials, really. So I mean, that's kind of a thing. Everything else should be kind of self-explanatory except for the Rongomians, which I already explained. The rank 1s, again, you can make them because of his effect. You can make all of your heroic champions that are on your field level 1. So you can make a dual hunt if you want to be able to attack over things and have your opponent's attacks and make it a little easier for you to get over their monsters. Or if you need to stall out and be like, okay, you have to destroy my monster by battle like 3 times or whatever in a turn. Shiny, or Slacker Magician, sorry, the image says Shiny. Slacker Magician's kind of just that good defensive card to have. So yeah, I don't think I missed anything, and I don't think I've failed to explain things that I don't like, or that I need to explain anyways. So yeah, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck, whether it's fun, competitive, or what. I know that there are probably people out there that actually do enjoy the heroic champion archetype. I personally do. I think it's actually kind of a cool archetype. Wish it saw some more play, or at least got some even better cards than what they have right now. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, this is Team709 signing out.